This is the 4 Cool Flags of the World quiz, where you have to identify the flags of all 197 countries in the world. And today, we're going to find out how fast I, an average geography enjoyer, can name them all. But before I go as fast as I can, I need to see if I can actually still name them all in the first place. And for the fun of it, I decided to actually name some of them aloud this time, considering in my last video I didn't even verbally name a single country.
Okay, Guyana, DRC, Democratic Republic of the Congo, New Zealand, UK, Mozambique, San Marino.
It isn't long before my verbal naming turns into incomprehensible yet, the main details of which are I learned them all originally like 9 to 10 years ago. Similar to my country naming video, I didn't do any revision beforehand. However, that probably matters less with flags since I see them enough anyway. Even though I could get 100%, I never had true perfect accuracy. For example, I used to confuse El Salvador and Nicaragua, but I can distinguish them now because in my mind El Salvador is more greener and Nicaragua is more triangular. They also both have their names written on them, not that that helps when they are 20 pixels wide on this quiz. I used to confuse Guinea and Mali, but now I just remember that red first means Guinea and green first means Mali. I used to confuse Chad and Romania and kind of still do. Chad has a darker blue. I actually think all the colours on Chad are darker though, and the main reason why I usually still confuse them is that it's quicker for me to guess Chad and be wrong than it would be to look closely and get it right the first time. And as we will soon be seeing, despite knowing them all decently well, there will still be times when I mix them up or guess wrong, especially when I am going fast or under pressure. But that's a problem for later. For now, it's just about taking my time and slowly working through them all. Eventually, I finished with a final time of 7 minutes and 38 seconds. My previous personal best for this quiz is 5 minutes and 48 seconds. And given how much I improved my personal best in my naming countries video, I decided my goal for this video would be to name every flag in under 5 minutes. But would 5 minutes be a little too ambitious?
Also, I'm probably gonna cut all of this yapping.
It's time to go fast. As I clown myself for making one of many mistakes that I will make, it's good to think about some things about this quiz. This isn't like countries on a map where the order can be the same every time. Every time you reset this quiz, the order of the flags changes, meaning you actually have to be looking at the screen. However, you are able to see ahead to the next flag and know what to type ahead of time. This actually never used to be a thing on this quiz. The next flag was previously selected at random, and when this became a thing, it meant I was able to PB by like 40 seconds. The downside of this is that it means you have to scroll down, with scrolling too far meaning you can't see where you are currently at, and scrolling not far enough being inefficient. Randomized order also causes mistakes, especially combined with speed. For example, on a map quiz, you would never confuse Austria with Peru because they are on opposite sides of the planet. However, in this quiz, if you see red lines, don't have time to think, and are just the right amount of dumb, you might find yourself typing one without realizing it is the other. My second attempt finished with a time of 5 minutes and 49 seconds. Only 1 second off a PB. While this might sound like a good start to the challenge, I was actually a little demoralised after that run. Despite the mistakes, it felt fast and I wasn't sure how I would be able to shave off 49 seconds. But all I could do was try again. In my third attempt, I wanted to focus on consistency and making fewer mistakes, which paid off as I finished with the final time of 5 minutes 30 and scored a new PB. However, I still had to save 30 seconds, and it looks like being careful might not be enough. Attempt number 4 and mistakes galore. I wasn't feeling good after this run. My final time was 5 minutes and 44 seconds, and during recording I made a note. It was now clear that there was no shot of me getting under 5 minutes.
It's not possible. My hands are too cold. My hands are actually freezing.
I did one more attempt that day and it ended up being my best so far. Not only did I type faster than in my previous attempts, but the mistakes I was making tended to be smaller and less punishing, like mistyping a single letter rather than mixing up flags. However, there's always a couple of glaring problems. I was only 16 seconds away from the goal, and despite thinking I couldn't do it at all at the end of the last run, I was now confident that it was indeed possible. However, that could wait until tomorrow. I was cold and I had had enough of naming flags for one day. I was back the next day and ready to finally complete this challenge. Unfortunately for me, today was even colder than yesterday. But it wasn't going to stop me as I powered through and got my best time yet. What I was coming to realise, and what my 6th attempt almost proved, was that I wouldn't need a flawless run to achieve my goal, but rather one that was just good enough. Good typing, good scrolls, minimal mix-ups, just having all the basics down packed rather than needing to type at lightning speeds or anything like that. Attempt 7 was pretty bad. I made a lot of mistakes and yet somehow still came close. But before we can get onto attempt 8, we need to witness the amazing chain of events that happened beforehand.
Bro! Oh my gosh! Nah. We got Switzerland again. Oh my gosh! What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh gosh. Ah, there's not even this, like, I can still type it. And I'm an idiot!
When I finally locked back in, attempt 8 was quite pleasant without too many issues. Until I finished and somehow my final time was actually slower than my previous 2 attempts.
That felt good, and yet it was slower than my atrocious run before. So, I don't know.
Attempt number 9! I'm pretty sure I blocked this run out of my memory. I faintly remembered having another bad run somewhere, and this was clearly it. Oh yeah, this is why. Yeah, we don't need to talk about that one. But I'll talk about it anyway. For this challenge, I need to name every flag in roughly 1.5 seconds on average, and with that we can compare how I did in that run with how fast I needed to be going. The whole run was on a really good pace, and I had a real opportunity to complete the challenge then and there. But oh well, sometimes you can't spell Solomon Islands and there isn't much you can do about it. Speaking of good pace, attempt 10 started off even faster than attempt 9 and was actually faster than the required pace at 50, 100 and 150 countries. However, things slowed down towards the end and I needed to finish with a blistering pace as I had just 7 seconds to guess 7 countries.
I'm counting that. That is... I mean... Yeah, it is sub 5 minutes, right?
Because of how Sporkle tracks time, it was indeed a sub 5 minute run. But I wasn't really content just yet. While I did technically achieve my goal, I wanted a more definitive result. I ultimately decided that I'd do 3 more attempts, with the caveat being that if any of them beat my previous time then I'd stop there. While it is initially slower than my 10th attempt 11 is consistently faster than the required rate. And sure enough, it looks like my 11th attempt is poised for success as well. Despite almost choking again, it is all but secured by the time I reach the final countries.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Regardless of how we want to count the first one, the second one counts. And you know, I'm happy with that. I honestly thought I bit off way more than I could chew when I made 5 minutes my goal, but I got there eventually, and now it's time to go another year without revising flags. So, what's next? Capital cities, I guess. If you want to see a worse video, then go watch my country naming one. And hopefully soon I'll have capitals done too, but I don't know because this video took forever to edit and maybe capitals will be the same. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you next time.